There was one principle, one defining feature that two of the most important and influential Christian existentialists ever, Fyodor Dostoevsky and Soren Kierkegaard, both seem to believe lay at the very heart of Christianity. And what makes this so fascinating is that in many ways they approached faith very differently. They came from different countries, they have very different personalities, different intellectual traditions. Kierkegaard, to me, for example, writes like a philosopher. He is dissecting the inward experience of belief itself. Whereas Dostoevsky is a novelist, and he writes like a novelist, right? Throwing human beings into this sort of psychological and spiritual crisis. And yet, despite all their differences, both seem to arrive at the very same central realization. That genuine Christianity begins precisely where comfort, where certainty, where superficial belief collapse. Neither of them believed authentic faith was merely inherited tradition or social identity or even social agreement with doctrine. In fact, both of them, if you have read their works, were clearly very deeply suspicious of what you would call easy belief. Kierkegaard constantly attacks what he called Christendom, the idea that Christianity had become culturally automatic instead of something that was existentially lived. And Dostoevsky fills his novels with characters who are suffering, whose doubt, whose guilt, whose despair forced them to directly confront themselves. Although they may approach it differently, for both thinkers, faith was certainly not avoidance of existential struggle in any way. In fact, it was the willingness to live it fully. This is why anxiety and despair and suffering and guilt and freedom and inward conflict occupy such a crucial role in their works. Because both of them believe that faith only becomes meaningful once a person has genuinely confronted the very terrifying aspects of existence instead of hiding behind their sort of comfortable abstractions. And that, to me, is what I honestly think separates their Christianity from what you could call shallow optimism. Neither man believed belief removed suffering, not even in the slightest. In fact, they believe it transformed the meaning of suffering itself. You get no certainty, you get no comfort, all you get is confrontation. That is the root. And that seems to be the point where both Dostoevsky and Kierkegaard meet.